This is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 15, verse 22, and it reads, And Samuel said, Had the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Lord? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams. Verse 23. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, he had also rejected thee from being king. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, all the praises, honor, and the glory shall go to Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahushai, Ba'asham, Makah, Kodash, Brakatam. Double honor shall go to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone to continue to teach and to rule well. Shalom to the Akims of Great Millstone and like-minded camps and individuals who continue to teach as one body, who continue to be out on the highways and byways, risking their lives for the greater good. And also shalom to the sincere Akwats who are continuously learning in silence, as the holy scriptures have commanded for you to do so. This is Azariah Gabar representing the King's Coming channel, back at it with another lesson for edification purposes. All right. So today's lesson is going to concentrate on obey the law. Okay. Because too many people have it twisted about the law, because you actually have two types of laws. You got the laws of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai and the laws of man. So for those who are chosen into this ministry, you have to learn how to decipher between what's what and how to use the particular law when a situation should arise. Because first and foremost, the law is still in effect, like I mentioned in the previous scripture. The law is still here from the Lord. And this is where the Christians get it wrong. They stumble upon this. The laws of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, were never done away with. So that's that law, and then you got the law of the land. All right. So when we get to the book of Romans 13:1, it reads, Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of Yahweh. The powers that be are ordained of Yahweh. All right. So simply put, you have the judges, the court bailiffs, even politicians, as well as law enforcement and military. Believe it or not, these individuals were ordained, okay, by Yahweh to be in effect, to rule the laws of the land. All right. So in this situation, the book of Acts 5:29, it reads, Then Peter and the other apostles answered and said, We ought to obey Yahweh rather than man. So like I mentioned before, depending on the situation, because I'm going to give you a simple example. Yahweh Shai says not to eat pork. But man, starting with Esau, says you should eat pork and you can't eat pork. Okay? So that's an example, a simple example for you simple-minded people. All right? So we're going to go to the book of Mark 12:14. Now, this is a scripture regarding rendering on to Caesar, because Yahweh Shai paid his taxes back in those days. And quick story about myself, years ago when I was in this truth, but not quite like how I am now. You have, people who would do slick stuff to avoid paying taxes altogether or to minimize your tax payment. I was one of those people. All right. I was always owing back taxes for years. Now, fortunately, I was never audited or was never imprisoned, but I was always owing back taxes for at least about 10 years. All right. Because I was filing dependents for children I never had. I didn't have that many dependents. That slick move. And yeah, I was getting big money back, but guess what? It caught up to me. But, I'm good now. All right. I'm retired. I don't work anymore. I don't pay taxes anymore. But I was still able to pay back taxes. So I'm clear. All right. So we're going to go to it. Mark 12:14, and it reads, "And when they were come, they say unto him, Master, we know that thou art true and carest for no man, for thou regardest not the person of men, but teachest the way of Yahweh in truth. Is it lawful to tribute to Caesar or not?" Verse 15, "Shall we give or shall we not give?" But he, Yahushua, knowing their hypocrisy, said unto them, "Why tempt ye me? Bring me a penny, that I may see it." Verse 16, "And they brought it, and he said unto them, Who is this image and superscription? And they said unto him, Caesar's." Verse 17, "And Yahushua answering and said unto them, Render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to Yahweh the things that are Yahweh's." And they marveled at him. You heard? So guys, straight up, pay your taxes, okay? Because if Yahushua paid his taxes, well, who are we to not pay taxes? Obey the laws of the land in this case. Obey the laws of the land. Pay the damn tax. Yes, it's unfair. It's unconstitutional. But pay it. Otherwise, you may end up going to jail like Wesley Snipes. You heard? So, moving on. A lot of videos have been surfacing lately of people getting into traffic stops with officers and they wilding out and they end up getting locked up. Well, there's a scripture for that. When we go to Matthew 5:25, it reads, "Agree with thine adversary quickly, whilst thou art in the way with him, lest at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast into prison." All right? So use your heads. Yahushua straight up saying, either you agree with the adversary or you're going to get cast into prison. And guess what? I ain't got nothing for you. Can't help you, bro. All right? So, another example, Deuteronomy 25:11, and it reads, "When men strive together with one another, and the wife of the one draweth near to deliver her husband out of the hand of him that smited him, and putteth forth her hand, and taken him by the secrets." So when men strive together, they knuckling up. They going at it, all right? One-on-one. And taking him by the secret, well, she done stretched out her hand and grabbed his genitals, okay? Here's the point. Because of her actions, this was a consequence by law. "Then thou shalt cut off her hand. Thine eye shall not pity her." All right? So anyone with common sense and in this truth and in spirit will say, well, listen, I know I can't do that today because we're under Esau's rulership, right? Because you do that, what happens? You're going to get arrested, brought up on charges, face a court, a jury of your peers. More likely than not, you're going to be convicted of felony assault and you go into jail. So you don't do that. That was back then. But guess what? When Jacob's kingdom is established, then all bets are on again. All right, so that's another example of deciphering which law to abide by, okay? Simply put. Because when we go to 1 Peter 2:13, it reads, submit yourselves to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake, whether it be to the king as supreme, verse 14, or unto governors as unto them that are sent by him for the punishment of evildoers and for the praise of them that do well. All right. So that's another example of obeying the laws of the land. We are to submit ourselves to every ordinance of man, whether we like it or not. All right. And to back up what I said earlier about you Christians talking about, oh, well, the laws are done away with. The laws are done away with. We're under grace. Well, not according to the book of John 14:15, and it reads, if ye love me, keep my commandments. Woo! Okay? So, hopefully I was able to clear the air and to demonstrate to you guys who are listening about the two sets of laws. Because when we go back to book of 1 Samuel, basically that scripture was about offering burnt offerings back then to Yahweh if you committed sins, okay? Before Yahweh Shai came on the scene and sacrificed his blood for us. All right? That's what we had to do back then. And the offerings had to be acceptable to Yahweh. You couldn't just roll up on them with any old thing. So you either obey and do that, or you sacrifice with your life. Y'all heard? So this is going to end this beautiful lesson today. Hopefully it will be edifying to someone that views this lesson. So all praises, honor, and the glory shall go to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Makah, Kodash, Brakatam, Kwam, Yasharala. Lord willing, on to the next. Shalom.